Hey guys, it's Brad from Grumpy Old Men. So I wanted to do a quick video on the Barbarian King ability because I feel it is something a lot of us can work on, and I constantly feel that it is the number one thing I'm screaming for people to pop when I'm watching a live raid. Um, Queen ability is probably a close second. Pop the BK ability, pop it now, now, now. Uh, it's understandable. It's a reactionary thing. It's the health gets low, you pop the ability. That's all you can do, kind of thing, mentality. But obviously, there's a lot of things going on when you're actually doing the raid. You're selecting units, you're deploying them, looking at what's going on, deploying spells in the right place, trying to pop hero abilities when at the appropriate time, and so on. But I feel the need to kind of go over how to use the BK ability most effectively. So kind of a theory, kind of fundamental review kind of session. So this applies to any level Barb King because his ability lasts 10 seconds no matter what. And it's pretty much analogous as far as ratios and such, what the ability actually does as far as damage increase and health regeneration. So in my case, he's level 40. He does 259 damage per second. If we look at the ability stats here, when the ability is active, which lasts 10 seconds, I get a damage increase of 414. That's in addition to the 259, so it's like 673 damage per second. That's a lot to have for a 10-second duration. Hit points are 4453, so the health recovery when I use the ability is 1692. That's about a third, right? So also something to keep in mind. Obviously, he does not go invisible when you use the ability. It's not like the Queen where you can just kind of save her life, and if she has healers on her, you can use her ability at the last second and she gets healed up again, and so on. And obviously she is not targetable when her ability is active. The Barb King is. So that implies, obviously, he could still be getting targeted by the defenses that are targeting him, or CC troops or whatnot. So leaving his ability to when he has a sliver of health remaining is usually not the right thing to do. Because he'll use it, and maybe he'll spawn a few barbarians, but he'll be dead in probably a second or two. So when's the best time to use the ability? The short answer is such that you get the maximum benefit out of it, so the full 10 seconds. So with that said, I don't have a plethora of raids to show, but I have maybe one bad example to show and one good example as far as using the ability, and hopefully that'll just get my point across. So with that said, let's go on to some examples. Alright, so let's go to previous war here. Go to this raid. So we won't really focus on the raid itself, just the BK ability portion of it, right? So let's fast forward a little bit. Alright, so he's got this golem in front here, which is great. Got the wizards funneling. So here comes the Barb King behind. The Queen and the defenses are really hitting that golem hard. He is going to split or almost go down. He might go down all the way. So he's done, and as soon as that happens, the Queen happens to target the Barb King because he's the closest unit to her. So, as you see, he's taking damage. There's some defenses on him as well. The cannon gets on him. His health is already halfway. He does get the Queen taken down, but he's got a cannon on him now. So waits down to the red. Now he uses the ability 1, 2, 3, 4. So he gets about 4 seconds out of that ability, right? Because he waited just a little too late. Had he used that or anticipated and used it a little bit earlier, he could have got the full 10 seconds, maybe taken out another building or two, maybe this wizard tower, or jump into here, something like that. So that's just an example where you're just using it a little too late, waiting for him to get too low, just didn't get the maximum effect out of it. So let's just go on and take a look at a better example of when it was used more appropriately. So let's take a look at this raid. Yeah, I apologize. I don't have always maybe the best examples for this. I only have so many replays that I can look at for good examples, but this is a better example of when it was probably anticipated and used more correctly. So let's fast forward a little bit here. Got the Barb King going up here. He's going to step in here, take out this queen, no problem. And sees he's going down. The enemy king is going to step over and start targeting him. Archer tower is also firing him. He gets about halfway down health, and he goes ahead and pops it. He's going to go over here, take out that defense quickly, take out another building. Obviously, maybe this may not have mattered as far as getting the 3-star in this raid, but it's the concept that I really wanted to illustrate here. The ability's still going, and he gets basically the full 10 seconds out of it, right? So maximum damage he could, and he's still up. So obviously got other units in here, and maybe, like I said, maybe not didn't make a difference in this particular raid, but he got the full effect out of his Bar King where he was at the moment, and he's going to continue on doing work here. So I almost feel like I'm doing like a noob tutorial type of video, but it's really not. I mean, this applies to everyone. I see the people using it way too late all the time, and like I said, it's just something to be aware of. Basically, when he's losing health, that's probably a good time to at least think about using that ability. Obviously, you have to look at what's going on in the raid, but usually if there's at the beginning or in the middle of a raid where there's tons of defenses firing and you see him going down to below a third of his health, or even before that, you really start thinking about using it in order to get that maximum benefit, and so he doesn't die too early. So what else do I want to say? That's probably about it. Maybe as far as like attacking Inferno towers, if it's a single target Inferno, you probably want to use the ability sooner rather than later. That single target Inferno targets that Barbarian King, he can go down. He will go down pretty quickly, so sometimes sooner is better rather than later is probably the best in that case. So that the single target Inferno will obviously target one of the Barbarians as opposed to Barbarian King. So that's another kind of example that seems obvious, but people kind of start to forget about those kind of things and kind of go into reaction mode, like, okay, when the health is in the red, I'm just going to pop it. So I'm just kind of trying to do a reminder, refresher of something to pay attention to, something to improve on. So, and I think it really applies to everyone at any level. What else? A lot of times when we're doing Town Hall 10 versus Town Hall 11 kind of raids, sometimes you're using the heroes really early at the beginning, and only the heroes to clear out, maybe or charge into an air defense or take out or create part of your funnel. Obviously, that's another good example that you got to use it sooner than later because there's nothing tanking for him. This is sort of what I'm talking about. An example. I want to get this air defense with the Barbarian King, right? So I break in here, get this dragon going, and so obviously his health is going down pretty quick. I want him to get in here. This would be an especially better example. This is a little bit atypical because I have the queen going on the opposite side to take out this air defense, but a lot of times she would be behind him and taking out all these buildings while he's kind of tanking in front. But again, the point is, in this kind of case, you got to use it sooner rather than later to get the most out of it. Who knows if he could break into this wall and take out something else additional. So as you see, I popped that like when he was about only a third of his health was lost. I popped it early to try to get as much as I could out of it. So you can see he was on a solo mission. So kind of sort of a good example, but not really. Anyway, that is about all I got. That's all I'm going to say as far as the Barb King ability. Hope this helped a little bit, something additional to think about when you're raiding. That is it, guys. Until next time, happy clashing.